example you can do is you can try those examples. Okay, just try to think on your own. Okay, say I've given a file for you. What do you want to do with that file? Okay, so based on a particular word, so just come up with use cases, random use cases. Try the ones I've given you, and then try to combine these arguments and perform a search. Come up with your own requirements. See the man page if there is a corresponding argument or not. All right, or let me know if you have something in your mind. I'll also try. If I know, I'll explain it to you. Otherwise, I will also try and come up with a solution and provide that to you. So it is not just with one tool, but I'll explain few more tools. You can have a combination of all these tools and you can apply it. So this is what processing the data is all about. So we make use of these tools. You have a huge file. Okay, I would ask you to provide some report. Okay, then what you do, first of all, you filter the data. So try to filter the data based on some requirement. Use tools like grep. There are other tools using which you can pull uh, specific columns. For example, an Excel sheet has rows and columns. Say for example, you have data in a file which is in the form of rows and columns. So try to pull the data from specific rows or pull columns, specific columns. Okay, and you might have a requirement like, so there are some extra spaces, you don't want the spaces, how can you remove the spaces? Or there is a word called ABC, I have to replace that word with another word called XYZ. Okay, you cannot open the file which is so huge and you cannot search for every word and replace it. So there must be an automated way. So we have tools that perform those things. Like in VI editor, in a command prompt mode, what we do is colon percentages word1 slash word2. We replace everything. So that's something we have seen, right, in VI editor. And if we use a small g in the ending, we replace it globally. So similarly, the same performance outside VI editor is provided by another tool called as SED, which is called as a streamline editor. Okay, so SED is another tool. So using SED, what you can do is you can outside VA editor, you can perform such kind of things like, so you can say SED within quotes percentage yes, it's just yes slash word1 word2. Okay, and you can mention file. So here I have not done anything. So let's say the same thing, word, replace with okay, done. Now say for example, okay, I want you to observe this. Okay, so I have implemented a series of commands, right? I want you to quickly compare between -i and -e arguments and tell me what is the difference that you have found with respect to the implementation. Anyone?
I think -I will change permanently. -E just it gonna change on the screen, but the file will not. Inside content of the file may not change.
Perfect. So that's all. It's a very simple thing. As you can see here, so in one case, uh, so 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 with this use case, I hope you can understand. Say for example, I have a big file, okay, and I ran SCD and I tried changing something. So before implementing the same thing permanently in a file, okay, so one argument would help you to quickly check. Okay, what it does is it will make the change, display the output on the screen. So now I can cross check whether this is the output that I'm expecting. So if you are happy, then remove this argument, put the other argument, permanently make the change. So you might uh, have again this thing like, okay, what happens if it permanently changes? You are going to run the same command again by just reversing these two words, right? So for this example, even that point is valid, but there are multiple ways of using SCD. Uh, Let me show one example. Okay, now if I do cat file, now grep boot anaconda, so it is matching 3 lines, right? Now I can use a pipe and grep again for a word called 880. So here, whatever output that came, right? From this output, I gave this output as an input to another grep command. So which has resulted in filtering that line again. Now I have only one line. So this way, I can keep filtering, or I can apply SCD here. I have something like name server. I want to replace that with DNS server, and that word is present multiple times, so I use G. Okay, and then I'll test it with -E. So like this, there can be multiple commands. The way I have now, again, from this output I can put another pipe, use another SCD, okay, and change another word. So maybe there are multiple words that you wanted to change. So you can use a pipe and use -E again and whatever change it is. So there is no limitation to the number of pipes that you can use, whatever change it is. Okay. Say for example, this is how if I have used -I here, then I need to again open this line, make all these changes and then run it. So it becomes a little complex in those use cases. And there are also other use cases where you cannot simply update the changes. So -E will be useful for you. Okay. So are you clear with this pipe symbol, how I'm using it? So output of one command is send as an input to another command. So here in the first command, this file is an input to grep, whereas in the second case, the output of this command is input to second command, and the output of this command, it goes as input to other command. So that is what pipe does. Okay, so like this you can have multiple pipe symbols and filter the data or process the data. So now if you are clear with using SCD, using these pipes, I'll tell you one shortcut here. Okay, so you need not have to, so instead of it is sufficient if you put SCD once, that's it. Say with SCD you want to replace multiple words. So SCD space hyphen E and then substitute or replace words and then put space. We don't need pipe symbol, just put hyphen E again, another word 3, word 4, hyphen E, word 5, word 6. So that way you can do it. Well, if you want something, if you want to use some other command, put a pipe again, use grep, or there is a tool called Proc. Okay, then you can start. So SCD, you can use it in both the ways. So SCD hyphen E, replace word 1 with word 2, use a pipe symbol, use SCD again, or simply SCD hyphen E, word 1, word 2, hyphen E, word 3, word 4, like that you can pass them as arguments. Okay. Using SCD, you can also uh, delete empty lines in a file. Using SCD, uh, we can print specific line numbers. Okay, uh, like that there are different use cases that we'll cover, and you'll see the combination of everything. Now let us take another example. Yes, take this file. Okay, forget about what the file name is, just observe the content of the file. So if you look at the content, you can see that uh, what my observation is. I would say that in this output the words are colon separated. So that is what I feel. Is there any other view from your side? So I say that all these are separated by colon in every line. So there is a word, there is a colon, there is another word, there is another colon. So I say that these are colon separated. So you tell me, do you have any other perception or you feel the same? Okay, I have one answer that is the same. Now, why not think this way? Why not see it this way? Why don't you say that? No, I feel that there are words which are forward slash separated. So forward slash before there is one word, after there is another word, and then forward slash again before there is another word, and then forward slash again before there is another word. So that way you can hello. Yeah, there is a small interruption in the network. I hope you all can hear me now. Okay, so in this particular file, okay, if you properly observe, there are a lot of word separators. In fact, every word itself can be considered as a separator. Say for example, you use the word demon. Okay, so this word is a separator for the content which is present before it and for the content which is present after it. Or you take another word called empty. So everything that comes before empty, everything that comes after empty, until until you get another word. So since colon is present multiple times, so our focus mainly goes at the colon, or maybe there is a space here. So space is also can be considered as a separator, right? So whatever that comes before comes after till the second occurrence of the space. Okay, so if you have observed this, so awk command mainly helps you to filter the data based on the field separator. Okay, so awk hyphen f is the field separator. So we'll start with colon. Okay, single quotes, curly braces, print. Now in a particular line, so wherever is the first colon, whatever that lies before that is called $1. Next $2. That means in between the next two occurrences, $2, $3, $4, it goes on. Okay, so $0 contains the entire line. So I'm going to print $1, this file called password. And rather than getting the entire output, I would just only print 5 lines. Clear? Or take the tail. See here. NFS nobody, RPC user, RPC Ramesh. What is $2? Colon separator X, 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 X. Everywhere it is X. Clear? So $3 will come this. Now take another example. Let us change the field separator. Previously I used colon, right? So now I will use 65534. Let us use this number. So it will check for the first occurrence of the number. Whatever lies before that number is $1, and the second occurrence, whatever lies between first occurrence, second occurrence, $2. So if you print $2, you should get colon as an output. Okay, so this is applicable to all the files. This number is present only in this line, not in the other lines. So it is displaying space over there wherever it is not matching. Now, if you have a question, what if I want to print second column as well as third column, or second column, third column, fourth column, or second column, seventh column? Okay, so the format is say $3. We'll change the separator so that you can print multiple columns. So based on 6554, you have $1, 2, 3. That's all. That's why if you use colon as field separator, you have $1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are multiple fields that you can print. I hope these three examples are self-explanatory. So you can print n number of fields, okay, from $1 to $n. You can print any of these fields, but in the output, so if you don't mention any field separator, so $1, the next $5, $6, so they'll be printed as they are. But if you want to see some field separator in between, I put three hyphens, okay, $1 to $5. So they are printed here. Similarly, I have mentioned spaces. So here is a space and $6 is not present. So this is how the output is. Okay, is it clear? Like this, so the command awk, okay, there is a complete programming language around awk command. That means now we have only seen very two simple examples on how to uh, print specific columns using awk, right? So in fact, you can also use loops inside. So if you're familiar with any of the programming language, you might have heard about if loop or a for loop, right? So inside the awk statement, you can use those conditions, stating, for example, take a simple example, cat etc password. Okay, so you can say that if $1, okay, say for example it is colon separated. If $1 is equal to ABC, then print $6. So in this file, since it is a password file, $1 will be unique. Okay, or take uh, this one. Say this is $6. If $6 is equal to sbin no login, then print $3, which is the user ID. So based on that, you can you can you can put a loop inside, saying a conditional loop saying that if this is the pattern that is matching, then print this specific column. Okay, like that you can do a lot of other actions using the awk command. You can filter the data using awk command. Say so just take these examples, the basic ones, so that you can understand the functionality. Start with the simple use cases that I've provided. Try those use cases, and we'll see more of such use cases when maybe when we do shell scripting topic. So there we'll make use of this and come up with some scripts using which we can try automating the tasks in the system. Clear? Okay. Now let's quickly cover uh, the topic on basic file permissions. Okay. So since we have not covered it, we'll go through important files and important directories, and also about the file permissions in a Linux system. So these are like again the very basics that are necessary. So once you're familiar, so you can start pretty much you can start working on most of the topics in the system. Okay. So what are the file permissions that are associated, and why do we need to go through the file permissions? So in fact, beginning with file permissions, so it is one of the security aspect you can consider. So slowly we will move into the next level of permissions, and then we will also go through the advanced topics on firewall, on SC Linux. Okay, we'll go till that level. So we also have the concept of ACLs in the middle, access control lists. So altogether there are 5 different topics: the basic permissions, and then special bits which are there, special permissions I would say, and then you have ACLs, then you have uh, firewall, and then SC Linux. Okay, 5 topics are there. So today we will cover the first one, which is basic permissions in a Linux system. So if you look at the output on the screen, I did a long listing of ls command. Okay, so in the long listing, if you look at the first column, I would say, so this part. Okay, so the first field, it defines whether it is a file or a directory or a different type of a file based on the alphabet present at that place. Hyphen always represents that it is a sample file, plain file, text file. And I hope you also remember how to check what type of file it is. So the file command, file space, you give any file name, you will get the output whether it is a binary or a text file or a block device file. Then comes, there are some 9 places. If you count, there are 9 places over here. In a Linux system, okay, there are primarily 3 different categories of users. Okay, so number 1, so there is this file. This file has an owner who has created the file, right? So, so that is one category. Number 2, so this owner will be part of a group. So by default, uh, a user, when you create a user, uh, a group would also get created in the system with the same name. Say for example, I'm adding a user. Okay, user add Kumar. It said it already exists. So grep Kumar etc password. So I have a user called Kumar. Okay, there is now grep Kumar etc group. The moment you create a user, a group with the same name also gets created in the system, and this user will be part of this group. Okay, other than that, you can make a user part of other groups also. So group is like a set of users who belong, who has the same set of permissions or who enjoy common features in the system. Like that, we have multiple groups in the system. Okay, so for this particular file, one is the owner, number 2 is the group members, so the group to which the owner belongs to. He can be part of multiple groups also. Again, in groups, there will be a primary group and secondary groups. So other than these two, okay, rest of the users come under the others category. Clear? So in a system, we have owner for files, we have group members for files, rest of all the users are others category. Now these 9 fields which are here, so the out of in these 9 fields, they represent 3 for owner, 3 for group, 3 for others in the system. Okay, and if you take this 3 permissions which are there, they are read, write, execute. So for owner, read, write, execute, group, read, write, execute, others, read, write, execute. Okay, clear? So these permissions, so these are the fields that decide who has permissions, what kind of permissions they have on the files. So read permission would allow a person only to open and read the file. Write permission will allow him to make changes in the file, and then execute permission will allow him, if it is a executable, then the file can be executed by that person. If it is a shell script, if you enable the execute bit or execute permission, then the user can execute that file. He can run that file. Okay, so those are the three permissions that are associated with files. Now quickly we'll check how to change these permissions, and also how to change the owner, and how to change the group information associated with these files. We'll take one file. Okay, now I hope you are clear that we have three permissions: read, write, execute, and they are applicable for three categories. Now read, write, execute permissions also have a numeric representation. Okay, the numeric representation is 4, 2, 1. Read, write, execute, 4, 2, 1. So you can combine 4 to 1 and say that if I give a permission called 7 to a user, then he will get all the three: read, write, execute. Okay, now if I say chmod 777 test file, so chmod is used to give permissions. Okay, so if I say 777 to test file, enter, see what happened now. So for owner, group, others, I've given rwx, rwx, rwx. Okay, so rwx 421, you can combine and use it for numeric representation. Say for example, I ask you to give full permissions. Full permissions means rwx. Give full permissions to the owner. Others and group members should not have any permissions. I say give full permissions to the owner. Group members can have read write permission. Others can have only read permission. So 7 is full permission to the owner. Group can have read write, means 4 plus 2. And others can have only read permission. Is the topic clear? So here we can also give permissions on multiple files at a time. You can recursively give permissions to a folder, all the subfiles, subdirectories of the folder. Say you have something like okay, now see. So excuse. So test is a folder that has test1, test2, xy, file, file2. I can do. Okay, now you see there are some default permissions for files inside. Now if I ask you to give full permissions to the owner and read permission to the group and others for all the files which are part of the test directory. So chmod 744, right? 7 is full permissions to the owner, 44 is read permission to the group and others. You remember hyphen capital R? Will recursively change the permissions of all the files, directories, subdirectories in the folder called test. Okay, so this is how we change permissions in a Linux system. So either you do it for one file or you do it for multiple files, or if you only want to make changes in the current directory, then put a star. So it will not go inside the subdirectories. Okay, but it will apply the same set of permissions to the directories at least. It will not go inside the directory, but to the directories it will match. The star will match. Okay, so carefully, based on the requirement, make those changes. So if I create a small script, okay, and I have to give execute permission. Now so far you have seen me giving permissions like this. Take uh, okay. So if I say these are the current permissions, right? If I ask you to be specific, like enable execute permission for group also, then what you do is chmod. So you calculate the existing permission like 7, rw is 6, 4. So 764 is there. You need to make it 774 for test file. So this is what we learned so far, right? So rather than calculating all this, there is another way of giving the permissions, that is using the alphabets. So we have user, group, other. So they're called as U, G, O. U plus RWX, comma, G plus RWX, comma, O plus RWX. Enter. Now if I ask you to remove execute bit on group and others, so what you do? Only be specific. I said remove execute bit for group and others. Removed. Remove write permission for others. So here you can exactly apply the changes that you want to make. You need not have to calculate and make, apply the permissions again for owner, group and others. So whatever change that you want to do, directly give that change. Enable X, enable R, remove W, okay, remove X for others. So this is another way of providing the permissions. So use the number notation wherever it is apt, wherever it would suit, or use the alphabetic notation wherever it suits. So using the combination of these two, you can make any kind of permission related changes in the system. Clear, or any questions on this topic? Come on, you can at least say yes or no. You can at least drop a message in the message box, right? All right, let's move to the next topic. And before moving to the next topic, I'm gonna keep you on mute for a few seconds. All right. All right, everyone. Let's move on to the next topic. Today, post the completion of the next topic, I have some question and answer session. Uh, so far, we have covered a few topics, so we'll quickly go through the question answer session just to quickly revise uh, what you have understood so far, what topics you are clear at. So I would definitely need. Uh, I'm hoping that you are ready for that session. Okay, the last 10 minutes we'll spend on the question answer section from the first few classes we had so far. So the next topic is about log information. In a Linux system, uh, specifically CentOS or Red Hat, okay, the log messages are generated in a folder called var log. So this is the default folder. Okay, all the system related logs are present under var log only. There are different types of services in the system. Accordingly, there will be different types of log messages generated under the var log folder. Okay, the most important one among this, or I would say uh, a general log file, is messages. There is something called messages, right? So this one. So all generic information about the system will be part of messages file. So mostly, or the first starting point when we are looking for something is your messages file. So once you check messages file, then if we want some more specific information, then we go to the corresponding log file. So when you are installing some services in the system, okay, so the service related uh, log files which are there, so by default they will be created under var log folder. Okay, so again, if you want, you can also create the log files in a separate location. Okay, so usually uh, all the services are configured to create the logs under var log only. So I'll give you a simple example, okay, on how we can redirect the log files. So redirect. So for example, you are running a command, okay, like ls command. Consider that this is your application related binary, and you redirect it and say var log my app dot log. So as many times you execute this, it goes to var log my app dot log. So inside the applications, so this is how we define this stuff. So I would say this is my app dot log. Excuse me. Sorry. So this is how I define, and uh, you remember the standard output, standard error concept that I've explained yesterday. So when you are running a command, um, again you see that so here what I'm doing, I'm running an application. The standard output of the application is redirected to myapp.log. If there are any errors that would get generated, you remember this numeric rotation, right? So two are the errors that I'm redirecting to myapp.err. Standard output to myapp, standard error to this particular file. Or what else we can do? Now here, if you look at var log, so there is a time specific timestamps are there. So we have a command called date. Okay, and sorry, percentage. Okay, and then percentage m, and then percentage d. Got the format? Now see what I do. Touch. I say touch. Sorry. Uh, there you go. You see, I created one file using the timestamp. So how I created? So I have made use of uh, multiple things here. The first one is I know date command will print the date on the screen. If you provide some additional arguments to date command, we can modify the output in different ways. So in some use cases, I might require only the year, and then I pass plus percentage y, so it prints the year. Similarly, percentage m, it prints year and month, year and date. You can also print in different formats. So just verify the man page of the date command. So if you want whether it is a Monday or Tuesday, the day names of the days or names of the months, you can also include that format. Okay, it's all about just changing these arguments to the date command. So that is how we can generate this input. Now, if you want to append this information, that means add it to the file name. So then what you can do is you can see these are escape uh, codes. So on your system, the same button where you have your tilde symbol, right? Left top under escape. So there you can see these codes. So under these codes, if I put something and run it, then it will get executed. Clear? Uh, Let us take a different example. Say echo. So echo, what it did, it has whatever you give to echo, it will give it back. ls-l, it has considered it as a string. Now here what it did, so it has uh, did a long listing of all the files and directories on the screen. So simply, so if you run something like this, okay, uh, by providing it as an argument, then it will execute whatever is there inside these codes and it will display that to you. Okay, so here, as I've said, see, this is a better example. So previously this file exists, so that's why it has displayed it. So I can do touch. Okay, when I do touch log hyphen this argument, so it will create a file and it will execute this. Whatever output comes, that will be appended to that file. See, timestamps. So the same thing. So now you are clear about how to create the files based on timestamp, right? Now I'm going to clear the screen and control R, ls, space pipe. What else? No. Okay, that's good. So here hyphen, I can put quotes and add date based timestamp. So my app. So for today, so what happens? Uh, I can add another feature, then automatically, or by the end of the day today, right? So the output of this will change automatically. That means till the end of the day, so the output will get redirected to my app hyphen today's date.log. When the day changes, automatically the output of this command will bring a new date. So a new file will get generated. Similarly for the error also. So like that, every day a new file will be a new log file and a new error file will get generated. So when you are creating applications, okay, or in general, applications make use of a similar concept in terms of generating the log files. So this is how we have different. So the same concept. So the default location is varlog, whereas if you want, you can also, use a different location. Say for example, for my app, I when I install it, it is created under take this location ls opt. So here there is a logs folder. So it depends on the application. Some external applications or vendor-based applications, they might create logs under OPT directory. But if it is a service related to your system, the default location is var log. Okay. Now what information is there? Var log messages. So when you start a service, when you start or stop a service, that information will be there in the var log. If there is any error associated with the service, so not all the error messages are printed on screen. Some error messages might be part of your log file. So that is where you can come and check information regarding this, regarding the corresponding error messages or corresponding services. So here, as I said, this is a generic log file which on messages. So other than this, you can see service specific logs are present, like cron, take cron. Okay, so cron is a scheduler. Scheduler. Okay, it is one kind of service. Service cron d daemon status. So it is running. Chk config list cron. So it is on in run level 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is how cron is started, and it is currently running in the system. So what cron does is, uh, take an example. So every day uh, at 2 p.m. I go to a specific folder in my system and I check for some files. I make some changes in those files. Okay. Or take the simplest example. At 2 p.m. I go to a specific folder. There are some files in that folder. I delete those files. So every day those files will get generated, and every day at a specific time I go to that folder, I delete those files. Now this is a simple repetitive task that I'm doing every day. So rather than uh, going to that folder and deleting it, so one way is I'm going to write a small script. Okay, so rather than going to that folder, I run the script. It will go to the folder and delete the content. Okay, this is first level of automation. So this is where the script will take care of the things. Number two, again there is some manual work. I have to go open my system and run the script, right? So this part which is there, running the script, that will be taken care by cron. So you just have to tell cron that run this script. So this script is input to you. Okay, take this script, and I want you to run this script every day at 2 p.m. Done. So cron service going forward will take care of running that script. You mention additional line in that script that drop me a note when you execute the script. Okay, so the moment cron execute the scripts, you will be notified cron has successfully executed the script, job done. That's it. Okay, so that is like that comes under uh, alerting process. So when you are performing some task, okay, you generate the alerts using that alerting system. So this way, this is what the cron does. So for all the cron related services, cron related jobs, the log messages are created inside the cron.log, or you can see, so there are some timestamps. So every day a new cron file will get created and the content will go into that. Similarly, I think spooler hyphen, this is related to your printer. Okay, and yum specific logs, we have mail logs, and then anaconda logs. These are generated during the system startup. There is another important, when we install Apache or web service, then a separate folder will get created in the system specific to HTTP logs. Similarly, we have cups. Sorry, this is actually the printer related logs. There is another log file called dmesg, DMESG. So dmesg mainly contains, so it is a uh, kernel level logs are present in this file called dmesg. Okay, or there is a command using which you can check those logs, but it is too advanced uh, even from the course perspective. But remember that there is one command, because from an interview perspective, so this is one of the important question that they usually ask for. So where do you check kernel level logs? Either you run the command called dmesg, or you open the file called dmesg, which is there inside the var log directory. Okay. Now we have a concept called log rotation. So using this particular feature, there is a service called log rotate service. So the main job of log rotate service is to rotate the logs. Now what is this log rotation process? In system, a lot of log messages will keep generating. So this is uh, a very simple instance where very few limited services are running. Whereas if you take actual production systems where a lot of applications would be running, okay, so depending upon the number of users or depending upon the load, a lot of log messages would keep generating in the system. Okay, so and these messages, these log files, they quickly fill up your disk space, fill your file system. So there must be a service in place that takes care of compressing these logs. So compressing is one part, and then deleting the log files is another part. That means as the log file reaches a size of say 100 MB, okay, then what you do is remove that log file, okay, redirect the logs to a new fresh log file, and take the old log file, compress it, and then store it under some location. So this way, every time a log file reaches a specific size, we compress the logs and we move the logs by putting some timestamp. Okay, this has reached 100 MB, so this is the time when I am going to compress it, and I'm storing it in my log store. I've stored it. So this is part one. Part two is, uh, so this way also, even though you're compressing them over a period of time, So these compressed logs will pile up, right? So then in order to overcome that, what you do is, okay, so every 1 week, so my application would generate these logs, and mm, in order to troubleshoot the application, so that's the reason we need the logs to check something, to cross check something. So I would like to maintain the logs related to my application uh, for a period of 1 week. That means so today I'm running the application. So if something happens, max I can go back to 1 week period. So beyond that, I don't want to support to the external user. So this is what your business requirement is. So what you do is, so keep those backup compressed logs of 1 week duration. So run this, tell the same service, the service which is compressing your logs, tell the same service that the moment uh, the log file is 7 days old, if it crosses that, delete the log file from the system. I don't need that log file. So you are only maintaining logs which are for a period of 1 week, which are like 1 week old, max 1 week old. So beyond, if it crosses that, you delete those log files. So that way you compress and you maintain the logs in the system. Generating logs is one part, and then rotation. So generally we say log rotation. There are a lot of tools that are available that do this job. So compressing, rotating. Some people prefer to take backup on the tape drives. So depending upon the company policies, they prefer they maintain the log files which are 1 week or 1 month. Some people also maintain it for months. Okay, so generally the concept, so this is what the concept is, this is how they maintain this. So in Linux we have this service called as log rotate service. So this is something that we will see tomorrow. Now we'll quickly go through some of the question answer section. So some of the questions at least that would help you to have an understanding of how uh, questions will be asked in the interviews. At least you can refresh the topics. Okay, so if you have any questions regarding the topics that we have discussed so far, feel free to ask me. Meanwhile, I'll open the question answer section. Alright everyone, I hope you can hear me well. So I'm expecting you either to answer the question or keep uh, just post your answers in the message box. Okay, please try to participate. So I'll try to help you. If you're not familiar, if you did not understand anything, we can repeat those topics as well, but please do participate. So we have a question now: how can we grep for a particular word in a log file with from date to to date? Yeah, that's a very good question. I will tell you how to check. So basically, you're looking for. Okay, I will answer this question. Just give me some time. Okay, so similar to this question, I hope you all understood the question. So in log files, we have timestamps. Every time a log entry is made, there will be a corresponding timestamp, right? So if I want to search for a set of log entries which are generated from one specific day to another specific day. So how do I pull that specific chunk? Similarly, some people might also ask for questions like, uh, I want to pull uh, log files which are from line number 5 to line number 50. Okay, similarly, so based on the criteria, if you have a requirement, how do you extract those set? I'll just forgot that argument. I'll check and tell you that it is possible to uh, pick based on the specific timestamp. Okay, so one second. So the first question I have is, what is responsible for the initial kernel loading at the boot time? What is responsible for the initial kernel load at the boot time? Okay, maybe I would repeat the question. So you remember the normal booting process, right? So at a specific point of the booting stage, the kernel will be loaded into your RAM. So what is the stage? What is responsible for loading the kernel into the RAM during the booting process? Okay, I have four answers. Maybe you can choose one. They are kernel itself, number two, root, number three, run level, number four, grub. So it is the grub stage where you remember the grub screen. So there we see the operating system and you choose the operating system. So choosing the operating system is where the corresponding kernel will be loaded into your RAM. A temporary file system will be created which would help you to create a permanent file system, the actual file system. Then your system will start the init process. Init will trigger all the other child processes, and that is how your system will be started. The final process is the login process. Okay. So how do you switch from run level 3 to run level 5? What is the command that you issue? So what is the file in which you make the corresponding change? How do you permanently set graphical mode as the default mode in your system? Well, I could only see one answer. Sysctl. No, that is not the right answer. Yeah, I could see another answer. linfo. I have never heard this word. I'm not sure which file name you're referring to. So there is a file in which we make these changes to make the system start by default in a graphical mode. What is the name of the file? Okay, it is the init tab file which is present under etc /etc/init tab. That file would contain the default run level information, so that you can set. What is the command that you use in order to check the free RAM available in your system. Okay, in fact, the answer is in my question itself. All right. Uh, the next question. So if you run top command, so there is something called load average. So load average represents, it shows three numbers for the load average. So what are those three numbers? Remember the top output? There in the right side we see load average colon, three numbers. They represent three different time intervals at which the load average is calculated. Yeah, I have two answers already. Two of them. One is last 1 minute, the last 5 minutes, and 15 minutes. Perfect. Okay. The next question. If I want to format my disk using ext4, what ext4 file system, what is the command that I use to format my disk using ext4 file system? No. One answer is fdisk. Fdisk utility is only used to create raw partitions in the system. Oh, come on. Yes, I have explained how to create file system. It is MKFS. It is not just MKFS. You should tell me the complete answer. MKFS is used to MKFS with some argument is used to write all kinds of file system. MKFS means make file system. So either you say MKFS dot ext4 space slash dev sda3 sda4 like that, or you can also say MKFS space hyphen t for type space ext4 space slash dev slash sda3 or 4, whatever partition that you create. Okay. Okay. So next question is, so what is the importance of slash proc folder? You can just say it in a word or in one line. It's up to you. Slash proc folder, first level directory, slash proc. Perfect. So I've got the answer. It contains all process related information with process ID. So there will be dynamic folders present created inside that directory. So when a process is started, there will be a process ID and the corresponding. So with that process ID, a folder will be created, and all the information related to that process will be present inside that folder. Okay. Okay. Next question. And you can also say that under /proc directory, there are some files like memory information, CPU information. So these files are also present under /proc directory. What is the name of the configuration file that contains DNS information? What is the name of the file where you update DNS information, domain name server or name server related information is present in that file? Uh, One answer I have seen I've got is host.conf. There is no such file called host.conf. We have a file called etc hosts. It contains a mapping of host name and IP address. Okay, the answer is etc resolve.conf. resolve. That file contains, if you open your system, usually that file would contain the IP address of the router, that is 192.168.1.1. Or if you have chosen a dynamic IP address, so your service provider will update that with the name server information. So all your queries will be routed through that name server to the external world. So that is an important file, etc resolve.conf. Next question. Uh, while typing commands on the command prompt, okay, so which shortcut do you use in order to get uh, the specific command from the history? So there is a command that I've used in the past. So rather than typing the entire command, I want to quickly get to that command. So one way is you press the up arrow. So that way, say for example, there are 100 commands that you have already used after that command. So you need to press the up arrow 100 times in order to get back. It takes a lot of time. I'm asking what is the shortcut using which you type a few letters or characters and you get to see the entire command that you have used in the past. Okay, or let me put it this way. How do you perform a reverse search of the history on the command prompt? So if you want to move the cursor to the beginning of the line, let me ask you this first. So how do you move the cursor to the beginning of a line and then to the end of the line? So what is the shortcut that you use rather than pressing the left or right arrows? What is the shortcut that you use to pull the cursor to the beginning of the line on the command prompt to the end of the line on the command prompt. So to bring the cursor to the beginning of the line, we use Control A. To bring it to the end of the line, you use Control E. Similarly, Control R is used to do a reverse search of the history. So press Control R and then type some unique words out of the command that you have used in the past. It will be printed. The entire command will be printed on the screen. So tab, if you press tab, it helps you in auto completion. So you type one character, if you press tab, it will display all possible arguments that are available with that option. That is what tab is used for. Most of the shortcuts are associated with control button. Control A, Control E, Control R, Control Z, like that. In a VI editor, okay, the moment you open the VI editor, if you want to go to the end of the VI editor, last line of VI editor, how do you go to the last line of VI editor? Perfect. Shift line. Say you are at the last line. How do you come to the beginning of the file? There are different ways. Okay. So you can use either of the ways. You can use the number notation or you can use the shortcuts, the alphabets also in order to move. So number notation will be like :0, okay, or you can also use some line number and you can directly go to that line number. Perfect. So what is the difference between SU and SU hyphen command? Perfect. SU hyphen will take you to the home directory of the user. Next question. What is the name of, tell me the path, entire path along with the name of the file which is used to grant sudo access for a user. It is etc sudo. Perfect. What is the command that you use in order to open this file? What is the command you use in order to edit etc sudo's file? I said you should not open the file in VI editor. VI space etc sudoers is not recommended. There is a command which if you run, it will automatically open the etc sudoers file. The command is vi sudo. One word, VISUDO. Next question. What is the difference between rmdir and rm space hyphen r commands? Rmdir command is to delete empty directories. So rmdir doesn't work if a directory has content inside. Okay. Rm command will help you recursively delete the files by saying rm-r. What is the command you will use in order to get, okay, a file has 100 lines. So what is the command I use in order to know this information? So what is the command you use in order to check the number of lines present in a file? Okay, var log, I'm sorry, it is wc-l space the file name. Okay, always, it is a good thing that you tell the complete answer. So wc-l space file name. So make it complete. You know the right answer. So why do you say part of the answer? Okay. Next question. So how do you make a service enabled at the boot time? What is the command you use in order to enable a service to start along with the boot process? Perfect. The answer is chkconfig space service name space on. Alright everyone, so questions that I have for today. I'll come with more questions. There are a lot of other topics that we have covered, but I don't have those questions ready now. We'll have a question answer session again, maybe tomorrow or some other day. Okay, so that's pretty much for the day, and see you in tomorrow's class. And yes, the presentations that I have covered so far, I will share those presentations. I will send those presentations to you today. Okay, you can refer to those PPTs again, and let me know if you have any questions tomorrow. All right, so that's all for today's session. Thank you so much for attending this session. Have a good day. See you tomorrow. Bye.